Okay, we're going to do a special Friday report. I don't normally do videos on Fridays too often, but today is an important day. And I said this, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. I did a special report too because I thought there was something about the market that I just wanted to talk about. And here we are again. Today is Friday. The market's intraday is closed, and it's about 3:30. So futures close in a half an hour. I'm looking across my office here at the streaming charts, and they're just tracking sideways. So I think we're pretty safe to assume we're not going to see any more significant price change. Occasionally you will get the market makers doing some stuff between 3 and 4 o'clock, but that didn't happen today. Very, very quiet here. So let's talk about what we got in front of us. This is the weekly chart. These are the S&P 500 futures. And I think starting Monday, we're going to be seeing June contracts on most platforms as a TOS platform. So I'm pretty sure we'll see, June contracts as the continuous contract on Sunday night going into Monday. So the spider will probably, I think what's going to happen to the SPY, for those that trade the SPY, I don't trade the SPY. I don't trade options. I just trade futures nowadays. But for those that trade the SPY, I think you'll see a small gap up here, probably like 6. I guess Spider trades in dollars. And let's see. I think it's a tenth, right? Yeah. So the Spider might see something like $6 gain, something like this, somewhere in that area. Because June contracts are trading higher than March. That's the reason why I say that. Now let's talk about what we see here on the weekly chart. So I've done this before. Let's count this up. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 total weeks here. Out of all these weeks, I think last time we determined only 2 of them, 2 out of 19, where the high traded lower than the previous week's high. That was, pretty sure it was this one. Let's see, 41 and a half. This high was, 4841, 4828, yeah. So that one right there. Okay, go away. 4821. And then I think, what's this one? 4613 and 3/4. Nope, that was higher. I think that's the only one. Let's see, what's this high? 48 and a half. This was, 66. So all the rest have been higher. And they've all been, let's see, this high. Of course, this high is higher than that high. So far as highs go, we've actually had one. Only 1 week out of these 19 did the weekly high, the subsequent weekly high was lower than the previous weekly high. That was right here. It's the only time it's happened out of 19 weeks. Obviously very, very bullish. Okay. Out of 19 weeks, only 3 of them, have been down weeks. Red, this one. Let me clear all the dots here. Clearing the dots. And so this one, obviously this one, and this one have been down weeks. It's only 3 out of 19 are down weeks. So that's informational is really where I'm headed with all this. This is very informational, right? Because we don't get a lot of down weeks here. I mean, this is barely a down week. It opened up at 51.42. It hasn't closed yet, but it's probably gonna close below it. It's just sitting there at 51.33 and a half. It might move a point up and down for the rest of today. Let's just assume it in somewhere right around 51.34, maybe 35, maybe 32, whatever. So it's about 10 points, 8 to 10 points below its open. So basically we have almost a doji for the week, right? Pretty significant. And the reason I say it is because this particular candlestick, if you look at it, has a decent upper wick and a decent lower wick. Okay, it's not like this. This is a small candle, a small bodied candlestick, but it's green first of all, and second, it has no lower wick. Okay, here was another one. Also a small candlestick for the week, but it had a lower wick really only, and small little body. Okay. So this is the only candlestick that this week, the way it finished right here, out of the 19 weeks, that has this almost like a cross, okay? Doji cross, very similar to a doji cross. And once again, let's see, where did this close the previous week? Closed at 38 3/4. Okay, so we really can't say it's an evening star because it's slightly below that, but it's pretty close. It's kind of close. Let's just call it evening-ish, right? So we've got practically a doji, and it's evening star in nature. And that's a pretty big deal. Upper wick, lower wick showing. The only time we've ever seen this kind of candlestick out of the 19 weeks, right? No other time have we seen this. So, of course, it's way too early to start talking about that the bull run is done. We don't know that. Just like this week right here where I said we have to wait till next week for confirmation to see what's going to happen. Well, that's the same message here. We have to wait to see what next week's going to do. Okay? So really we have an entire week, all next week. We have to see what does that next candlestick do. Does it close red? Okay, is it a red candlestick, number one? And number two, is the close below this candlestick's close? Because those two conditions really need to be met. At minimum, the close needs to be below this close, which by nature, I think by definition would be a red candlestick anyway. I guess there's some strange scenario that could occur here that's not true, maybe. I'm trying to think. Is that possible? Yeah, it could. I mean, in theory, it could gap up on Sunday night, let's say, something like this. Close red, but still be above this open. Or, sorry, still be above this close. That is possible. So that would be the one scenario where you could have a red candlestick next week, but it could literally still close above this one. If you had some kind of like gap up, you know, where it opened up here. Went up like this, came down, still closed red, but stayed above this close. So that's possible. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. That would be like the only scenario I think that if I'm thinking through this properly, doing my poker strategy here, looking at all the odds and understanding the different combinations that can occur here, I'm pretty sure the only way that can happen is if you get a gap up, it goes up, closes below its open, but stays above this close. That's not likely, though it could happen. And the reason I say that is because, well, yeah, actually that could happen because June contracts are higher than March. The June contracts are trading, let me look, I think they're trading 50, no, I don't have them in front of me. Let me look real quick. Where do the June contracts? Let's take a look. Let's look. Yeah, 51.97, okay. So, 63 points, yeah. So there's exactly a 63-point gap between these two. Between the continuous contract and the June contract. Since this is March and June is 63 points higher, what I think we're going to see Sunday night, because most brokers are going to change over a week ahead, you're going to see the continuous contract jump up 63 points. So now that I think about this, that is what's going to happen. Okay? It's most likely that's what's going to happen. So next week, we're going to see this like 51.90 area. So it's going to jump all the way up to the top of this candlestick. Let's do this. So next week's candlestick is going to start like right up here, like this. Well, I don't know about how high it's going to get, but it's going to start like right there. Right there. So it's going to jump up. It's going to gap up here. Okay. It's going to start right at the tip of this wick. So we already know, now that I think about this, I'm almost positive we're going to see the open above this close. So the big tell is going to be next week. Do we get at minimum a red candlestick? Right, that 60 points is pretty small, but it's still there. So we have to wait all the way to next Friday close, futures close, to see what this next candlestick is going to be. Okay, if it opens up here, and let's say it does bouncy for the week, but it finishes down here. Okay, let's do this right, yeah. Let's do this right. Try to pick something red here. So I think it's going to open up like right there. It might do some bouncing through the week. Okay, but let's say it finishes, I'm not going to draw the body, I'm just going to draw wicks. Say it finishes down here like at 50.63, okay. So, I don't know. Maybe you get an upper wick, whatever. Maybe you get a body like this or something. Okay, just call that upper wick like that. Maybe you get something like this. If we get that, where it finishes down here by 50.63 or below it, okay, this the way I have my charts, this would be filled in probably. Okay. Then that's going to be very telling. Even though you're going to get the open's going to be above this, this would be very telling. If we get two candlesticks like that, get this, we get a candlestick that finishes down here. Okay, that would be pretty significant. Maybe the line would have to be, yeah, the close maybe it's down here, let's just say. Maybe it's something like that. And I think what you might see is, say it's kind of like, I guess it might be like that in that scenario, right? Be like that. Right? So this would be telling like next Friday if we get something like this, right? So this candlestick's pretty important because it's one of the few times we've had a red candlestick. It has a doji. It's basically practically a doji. It's evening star in nature. It's giving us information. Okay. We had 130 point range this week, and we finished slightly below the open. That's a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal, but it's big enough to take notice. All right. If it does pull back, then of course the supports haven't changed on the weekly chart. Right, 50.63, 49.37, 48.69, 47.02. These are all in play if this begins to pull back. Okay, here's March 31st. Here's June 16th. This approximately right in here would also be pretty big deal, like May 6th. Somewhere right in that area, right about in the middle of this cycle will be a pretty big deal, so you can keep that date in mind as well. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at my trade. We'll look at the daily chart. And we'll look at intraday and finish up the video. Okay, here's my trade. $562.50. I had about 5 different trades today, which is a little more than I'd like, but still it's okay. 5 trades, three contracts each, 15 contracts total. All right. I didn't do a lot of trading. I had to work today on the old day job. But I'm happy. This was a really good week of profits, so no worries. $562, of course, minus some commissions in there, but I still think it was, whatever. Probably right around $500 after commissions. I don't really know exactly, but it's somewhere in that area. So a really good day. I mean, heck, if I could make $500 every day, I'd be happy with that. $2,500 a week. Kidding me? It's 125K a year. If I made 125K a year, that's that's basically as good as any full-time job you're going to work. I think this year is actually going to be much better than that. I think my trading has been really good the first 3 months of the year, and I think it's going to be an absolute banner year. It's going to be a banging year. We're going to keep on keeping on, as they say. So my goals haven't changed. Obviously, I want to continue to press forward so that I can trade some more contracts and reduce the range. That's the goal. All right. Today was a huge monster day. I mean, there was literally thousands of dollars of profit on the table. Like I said, I was busy, couldn't do all the trading like I would like to have, but that's okay. Fridays can get a little weird sometimes. So if I'm walking away on a Friday making $500, I'm pretty happy. Okay, let's look at the daily chart. All right, here we are on the daily chart. Hit all-time highs today at 51.93. The morning was pretty aggressive, very bullish, and then we had a really hard pullback coming down into the 10 o'clock hour. I had reworked on the hourly streaming chart that I have for the members. I have an hourly streaming chart, the 15-minute and the 5-minute chart, which, by the way, if you want to become a member, stick around to the end, and I'll show you how to do that. But on the hourly chart, I reworked the cycles this morning because this week's been a lot of movement in the market. So I had to really stay on top of the cycles for the hourly chart. And I redrew the cycles kind of early this morning, and it revealed there was going to be a 10 o'clock, potentially for a 10 o'clock pullback. And sure enough, we had a massive pullback going into the 10 o'clock hour. Then it just continued all the way down into the, well, we'll look at that when we get to the intraday charts. But yeah, you can see you had a pretty big pullback here for the day. The total range was another decent range day here, 71, really nice. 2 days in a row of really good range. And you can see the stair step thing's just been going on. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Just keeps stair stepping its way up. So here we go again with another pullback. Pullback day. So we'll have to see next week, do we get this? Do we get that? Because that's been the pattern, right? That has definitely been the pattern. And that could even happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I could see bounces happening, and then maybe it gives it up. Maybe it gives it up and comes all the way back down to this 63 starting next week. But, we have to wait and let the market tell us that, right? Just my opinion is I would not think about doing any short side trading until the market actually gives us confirmation, right, that we have a trend change. But that has not happened. And though I will say, just kind of looking at this chart, we've had more red days kind of creeping in here. You can see here it's very strong in the beginning. Really strong. And then it had just a little pullback, then very strong again. Then a little pullback, and then it had a pullback again, right? It got a little bit choppy here. Really strong. Little pullback, chuck sideways, very strong pullback. So you kind of beginning to see more red days being sprinkled in. Once we got above this big rise right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red days out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 10 days. So half of these were red days. Now, of course, the green days have been more powerful than the red days. That's why the price continues to move up. Yeah. But that's kind of little things that I like to look at, just looking at behavior in the market, looking at overall patterns and understanding when, has the nature of the market changed. Now, it's still very bullish, but there are some small signs of potential weakening going on here, okay? There are the supports. This 50.63, of course, is also on the weekly chart. So there is a support, and I meant to put this in yesterday. Let's do it right now. There is a small support here at 50.84, we'll call it. That one's at 86.5. We're just going to call it 85, okay? We'll just call this 85. We're just going to ballpark it right in this area. A little bit of support here. Okay. And then we'll duplicate this. 86 and a half, 84. We're just going to call this 85. It's close enough. It doesn't have to be exactly right on. Call it 85. Okay, well, I was in there. I probably should have. Put this at 85. And then we'll put this at 85 too. Okay, so there's the most recent support right there. Kind of tight with 863, but it's still worth putting in there just so we want to keep the charts up to date. Okay, so 50, 85, 60, 50, 63, and there are the rest of them going down. Got March 20th right here. Okay, that's this cycle low here. April 14th, May 1st. Okay, and you're only 4 days away from this March 12th, so if we don't see some kind of pullback, you know, somewhere within 2 or 3 days of this date, either a little before or a little after, if anything, now looking at this date, 3/8, it'd probably be after. If it isn't within 2 or 3 days of being right around, let's say March 15th, the latest, because that's when expiration happens for the futures. If we don't get a pullback into here, like some kind of pullback, you know, that's going to tell a story. That's going to tell us the market is still very strong. Because this should be a decent pullback into here. Doesn't have to be huge. It's not like the definitive pullback, but it should be. It should have something. This one was absolutely just tracked sideways. This one was pretty good. I'm just looking at, kind of going back here, looking at the rest of these. You know, that one pulled back into there. This one pulled back into here. This one was flat. This pulled back here about 4 or 5 days. There's a little one over here, kind of hard to see, about 4 or 5 days, maybe 3 or 4 days there. So all of them except for this one. Oh, I'm sorry, and this one. Well, this one actually had it too. Not much, but like 3 days for the pullback. Let's call it 26 down to 46. That was interesting. Not a huge pullback there, but it did happen. Yeah, so all of them had some kind of little pullback. Some of them small, some of them a little bit bigger than that. But okay, so that's the deal there. We're going to definitely keep an eye on this. Next week is a big deal. It really is a big deal. We'll just see how these candlesticks play out on the daily chart. Okay, let's look at the intraday charts. All right, here we are on the 5-minute chart. Let me tell you, okay, this is where futures started last night, and it's going to end here in about 10 minutes for the week. Right over here, we're at 350. You got 10 minutes left in futures. Today, from there to there, well, there was a lot of opportunity. This one right here, I was kind of kicking myself this morning that I didn't take advantage of this. This happened at 650. And even though we didn't get a Get Us Plus indicator, it came over here. But this was such a sweet opportunity down in here. Right here. Really nice. Typical to see this around 7 o'clock in the morning, my time here in Texas. Very, very common. Okay. A lot of opportunity here today. Here was a signal that came in about what, 750, I guess. Yeah, 750. Did have a little bit of a pullback. That's tradable, actually, believe it or not. For aggressive traders, that's tradable. That's from about, we'll call it 74 maybe, down to 64, conservatively speaking. That's 10 points, guys. That may not look like a lot on the chart right here, but that's 10 points. That's really nice. Okay, then it bounced off the bottom here. Of course, you're going to be looking for that because we're still very much in a bull market. Momentum goes positive above the purple line here. No reason not to jump in. Off to the races. And another, 20 points. Probably realistically like 15, right? I mean, like I say, don't get caught up in trying to catch the entire thing. Just catch the meat on the bone. If that's 15 out of 20, that's fine. Still plenty of profit here. So I really think between this signal here, that's a good 8 to 10 points there. It bottoms, it starts to take off. That's another 15 points pretty easily, right? there. Let's see. So yeah, a good 15, maybe even 17 points right in this area. You're looking at like, gosh, 23, maybe as much as 25 points in this area right here between these two trades. Really, really nice. Let's get us plus indicator right here was really spot on. Really nice signal for a trade there at 7:50 in the morning. So pre-market, a little bit pre-market going on there. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. I'm going to show you something that was super sweet. One more thing, but actually I made some trades right in this area at the end of the day. I made about 250, 300 bucks right in here. Just being super conservative and just made like a quick little scalpy kind of trade. Normally I'd stand there longer, let this run. This was probably at least $1,000 or more here, but I just was too busy. And when markets are going like this, I don't like just place an order and put in limits and walk away. It's just way too risky. I want to be right there on the computer, ready to rip. So if all I have time for is a scalp, so be it, you know. It's better to do that and guarantee you're putting profit and you're banking the profits than walking away and all of a sudden the market changes on you in a heartbeat and you're like, you know, kicking yourself. So there's a nice little profit in this area. All right, let's look at the 1 hour chart. I want to show you something. Okay, so here we are on the 1 hour chart. Now this is something that gets streamed to the members 5 days a week, 24 hours a day, okay? And this morning, I think I had a cycle set for 9 o'clock, but when I got up early morning, I noticed that 7 o'clock, we had this big lower wick. So I reworked the cycles because this is what we have to do for those of us that do cycle analysis. You got to really stay on top of the charts. So I reworked the cycles. And when I did, a 10 a.m. cycle showed up. Now that time it was, you know, I don't know where I was. I was like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I was somewhere in here. Somewhere in this area, I was reworking the cycles at about this time. So, you know, I moved some cycles around on the hourly chart here. And of course, this big lower wick, you know, you're definitely going to key off of that. And I drew this, I drew in this green cycle and did some other stuff, but I also noticed a little pattern going on here. It's maybe not obvious to most people, but this yellow cycle, there's a pattern in here. You can see it's right here, okay? And it's right here. You gotta be looking for these kind of things. This does not look like a cycle low, but it actually is. Okay, so it's there. It's there. And if you come over here, you don't really have much going on there. Right? There's a little red candlestick, but there ain't much going on there. Okay. But anyway, it forecasted over here at 10 o'clock. Now at that time, none of these candlesticks over had been developed yet. Like none of this stuff. Okay. So an hour, 2 hours later, whatever it was, an hour or two later, it gets up here, it peaks out, and what does it do at 10 o'clock? Crash 'em, bang 'em, boom. Look at that, right on time. Okay, huge. So I wanted to show that because if you want to take advantage of the membership that's available, this is the type of analysis that's going on, all right? I mean, there was members making money off this today, and I know I made money off this too. A little bit of money in this right in here. Right, so if you want to become a member, there is a discord.com link in the description right below this video on YouTube. Make sure you read the instructions very carefully. Click on Get a Server, then click on Server Shop. It's gonna bring you over here. $7.99 a month, guys. Okay, invest in yourself. Spend 3 months. 25 bucks. Okay, you get the streaming charts down here. So when you join, just click on the streaming charts down here. You get the alerts that get sent to this channel right here. So you can always right click on this and turn the alerts on. So that's super nice. These charts, a 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour stream, 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. Okay, you get some premium symbols Monday through Thursday. If you want to get the nightly emails, drop your email address in this channel and you'll get the daily chart of the S&P 500 every night. You'll get the daily cycles that'll go on there. And of course, you'll get at least a couple sentences about my opinion, usually what I think the next day is going to do. Okay. So, and you can see there's other things going here. There's some other products that alerts are coming in for, so you can check those out as well. All right. I hope everybody had an awesome week of trading. Just a reminder that everything on this server is strictly educational purposes only. I do not give financial advice, and everything in this video, of course, same thing, educational purposes only. No financial advice is implied whatsoever. You are responsible for your own trades, guys and gals out there, okay? Again, hope everybody had an awesome, profitable week. Happy trading, everybody. God bless everybody. We'll talk to you all real soon again next time.